Hey guys, I am back home from Florida and I had so much fun doing that pour with Kelly that you guys are getting this month that I decided to come home and do one myself in all my favorite colors, which we all know are kind of oceany blue, teal, that kind of stuff. So we are going to have a secondary video of a pour that I'm going to do, and I hope you guys like it. See you soon. Okay, guys, look at my color scheme. I am so excited. I am going to do a quick little pour on a 10 by 20 canvas for you guys. And I am going to use some of the colors that I like so much. Kelly's more of a earth tony kind of girl, and which is conducive for what she works on, but I wanted to do a pour with some more beachy colors. So what I've started with is kind of an aqua color, and I'm actually using just some old paint that I have in my little stockpile, but I am going to match them to some craft colors and give you the option of using either. So I'll tell you this color and then the color I matched it to on each one, so that you can make your choice about whether you want to go and buy the big paint or whether you just want to use a little 2-ounce craft paint. Now what I've done here is I've got the aqua, and it is actually it's this color, which is poolside blue, and I've matched it to the folk art aqua. And I also have this dark navy blue, which is a paint color that I have called Gale Force, just an old paint color that I had in my stockpile, but I've matched it to Americana Prussian blue. Now this gold is our Modern Masters Olympic Gold. You can find this at Hobby Lobby in the little 4-ounce containers over in the artist department. And then I just have some basic white. So this is just straight off the paint counter with no tint. You can go and get just an ultra pure white, or you can use your white craft paint, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna push my canvas aside so I don't get it messy. The first thing I'm gonna do is add a little water to these per Kelly's instruction to make them runny, so that they flow nicely onto the canvas. So let's try this out. Okay, so first I want to tell you that I have about 2 ounces of each of these 3 colors here, the aqua, the navy blue, and the gold, and I have about twice as much of the white. I have about 4 ounces of the white because I'm also going to use the white to cover my canvas as well as pour into my cup for my pour. So I'm going to add a little bit of water. Kelly used water instead of like a flow medium, so we're going to try that out first, and then maybe we'll come back and do one in the exact same color using a flow medium, just so we can see what the differences are. I am going to put a little link in the bonus videos about flow mediums, adding flow mediums to your pours for you guys to read. It's a very interesting article about why to use a medium or a flow medium versus water, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that into our bonus video section, and I'll put that in our PDF as well. So I'm going to add a little bit of water instead of that flow medium. That's what Kelly used, and I'm all about the cost cutter version too, so we're going to try it with, this is a resin cup, and I see that I have a tiny bit of a loose resin, so I'm going to grab that off. I don't want it stirring into, thought I'd clean this cup pretty good, but I don't want it stirring into my paint. Let me get that out of the way. So I'm going to add just enough water to make it loose and runny, so that it streams off of our stick, because you don't want it so thick that when you pour it, it doesn't want to move on your canvas. So this white's a little thicker than normal because it's the paint and not the acrylic. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit more. Stir that up really good. So it runs really nicely off my stick. Okay, so now we have our navy blue. It's kind of thick too because it's an old paint color that I've just had in my stash from faux finishing days, or, you know, just picking up a color I needed for something. So I am going to mix a little bit of water in that until it's nice and runny. And I'm not measuring this water. I just add a little bit at a time so that it's not terrible. You don't want it so runny that it's just going to wash right off and dilute your color too much. You just want enough water in there so that it runs off your stir stick really nice. If you put too much water and it turns to, thins it down too much and makes it a little too translucent, just add a little bit more paint back in there. Okay, so that's nice and runny. Runs right off. So let's do our teal. Now teal is super thick because it was like just the last bits. You can see how thick it is. It was the last bits at the bottom of a container. So it was like almost solidified. So I just dug it out and we're gonna try to use it. I'm gonna just keep stirring until we get some of those chunks. I wanted to use it because I love this color. I'd actually painted a piece of furniture this color when I was living in Destin. I love it. So we're just gonna use it and try to get some of these chunks out. We may have to dig some of the hard chunks out because it was pretty pasty when I dug it out of the bottom of the can. So we may have to get some chunks out before we pour. We just keep stirring for a second, just to loosen up some of that. I'm going to smush them to the side. You know, guys, if you really want to use the paint, I know that Sherwin-Williams sells sample paints. They're like this size. It's like a quart, but they call it a sample quart. It might be a little bit smaller, for like $6, I think. And Lowe's and Home Depot also sell sample pots too, the little tinier sizes. So if you wanted to use that, you can, but these work just as well, okay? I've seen people use those many, many, many times. Now this is kind of lumpy, so a little worried about that, but we are just gonna go with the flow, pun intended. Let's get some of this into our metallic. This is our Modern Masters Olympic Gold. So Kelly said she always uses like a white, and that's what we're going to use to apply to our canvas first. So she uses a white and a black, and I used, and then a couple of colors. So, and always one color metallic. So I'm using the navy in lieu of black, and I have my white and my teal and then the gold metallic. So I'm really anxious to potentially do one with like black and gray and white and maybe a little silver metallic in it. So I'm kind of looking forward to maybe doing that. So according to Kelly, we don't stress about the details. We don't like overdo it, overthink it. Already overthinking my blue being chunky, but I guess if it has chunks, we'll dig those suckers out when we pour. Okay, so I went to my hardware store. I didn't want to go all the way to Home Depot because you guys know I live in the boonies, and Home Depot is like 40 minutes from my house. And so I went to the Ace Hardware, and they didn't have the 3-in-1 silicone drops because remember she used the drops where she just squirted a drop in each of her colors, but they did have this silicone spray. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to be your test dummy. I'm going to use that. So I'm just going to put one little squirt in each color. 2 little squirts, actually. I put 2 little squirts in each color, and then I'm going to mix them up again. Get that silicone mixed in. And then we may use it after we get our color on. We may use it to make cells as well. So let me stir the silicone in. Here's our navy and our white. I'm going to put 1 extra squirt in our white because we have twice as much of the white as we did the other colors. So I'm just add a little bit more. So we'll stir that up nicely. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're a little bit too close, aren't we? Okay, so I'm going to pause and raise my tripod so that we can see. Well, let me see if I can turn it this way. Let me get these out of the way. Maybe if I can turn it this way, I won't have to pause. Oh, there. The whole thing fits there because we can see this is our one end and our other. Okay, I am a little crooked, so let me straighten that up. Okay, so what I need to do at first too is raise this up because we don't want paint running off the sides and sticking our canvas down. Oh, that was a little long, so I'm gonna have to do them this way. We don't want our canvas sticking to our cardboard, and I am using cardboard underneath to catch all the paint so that I can just toss that when we're done. Okay, so let me scoot this over just a little. And something else Kelly said is to make sure your canvas is on a level surface. This is probably not level, and I'm not going to worry about it. We'll know when, but if you want to make sure yours is level, once you get it set up, just put one of those short little laser levels on your canvas in a couple of different spots to make sure. I'm fairly certain mine's not, because I can almost see it, and I'm not going to worry about it too much. We'll know when paint starts running off one side or the other, whether it's level or not. But I am going to grab my gloves because we're going to apply some white to our canvas surface, and I don't want to use a brush. So I'm going to grab a glove. Give me 1 sec. So I'm going to put a glove on and add some white. Just a thin layer of white to our entire canvas. Let's see if that's enough. And this is what Kelly did. She just rubbed it on with her hand just to cover the entire canvas. And that makes your other colors flow really nice. This is so much fun. I'm excited to see what happens. You know, we could be making a dog. We could be making something fabulous. Who knows? If we make something fabulous, maybe we'll come back and add a little glass to it. I'm anxious to do something a little different, add a little extra something special to this pour. So what I've done is just taken some of my white paint that we mixed with silicone and water, and just add a little bit to the sides. I'm not gonna worry about those too much right now. You can come back because we're gonna probably let it run off the sides a little bit as well. So I've put a layer of that white onto my canvas, and that's the one we mixed up that has the water and silicone in it. So now we are going to create our dirty cup. Okay, so I've got myself a cup, a clean cup. It actually has a little bit of resin stuck to the bottom, but that's okay. And the first color I think I'm going to add is, I think I'm going to go ahead and add some white first. I don't really know if there's a rhyme or reason to what you should or shouldn't add. I'm going to add some whites, and then I'm going to add some gold. Then I think I'm going to add some navy. Then I'm going to add some more white. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. This is like new to me too. Then I'm going to add some of my teal. I'm worried about it being lumpy, but we're going to go for it. Maybe all the lumps will be in the bottom. Oh, it's super lumpy. We'll have to see how that works. Oops, and I dropped a little bit there. Now I'm going to add a little bit more navy, just a smidge. Some more gold. I'm just going to keep adding till I'm done adding. And more white. Now I'll have to make note of what I did there because I'll have no idea. So you can see that it's already kind of acting funky in the cup. So I'm going to do as Kelly instructed. I'm going to take my stick and just give it 1/2 swirl just to kind of blend a few things, and look how pretty it is on the stick already. Woohoo! Okay, now here is, I hope this works out. I do. Okay, so we're gonna just pour, and I'm just gonna pour like in a loop, and then I'm gonna dump the whole thing, and then we'll just play with it and see what happens. So I'm just gonna pour. You can just dump it in the center, just flip it upside down and let it run out, but I kind of want to make something special. So and this may turn out to be a big pile of poo. Who knows? Not as much teal in it as I had hoped because I was worried about it being lumpy. So I may come back and just add some teal. I don't know if this is right or wrong. I'm going to assume that there's really not much wrong. You can't really, if we mess it up, we mess it up. I'm going to come in and just add a little bit of teal. Got to have my teal, don't I? Guys, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I encourage you to play as well. Just coming in and adding some color where I'd hoped there would be more of. And it's okay. If it's yucky, it's yucky. All right, I'm gonna come in now and add a little bit more white right in the center. All right, so let's see what happens. I'm just going to go ahead and do like this thing that the tilting of the canvas and letting it run off the edges. So I'm not really a fan so far. Maybe I have picked some not so great colors, but I'm going to let it run this way. And make a mess too. Oh my goodness. I really wanted to have some white still showing, so I don't really want to run the whole thing off. So I'm going to leave this here, this plain white showing here. And you know what? I don't hate it. I don't love it. But I don't hate it, but I am going to just take my fingers, which are covered in goo, and just kind of hit my sides a little. Maybe scoop up some of the drippage and just put a little bit of that. The drippage is quite beautiful. I don't even know what to say about that. How it's running off onto the cardboard. It's really kind of pretty. So I just want to add a little to the sides where there isn't any. And that may be a mistake and it may not. I don't know. We shall see when we're done. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. And it's one of those things that we won't know till we're done. How it turned out. So I'm just scooping up a little off the cardboard and kind of dabbing a little here and there on my sides so that where the paint is really thick. Oh, I'm kind of starting to, I'm feeling it. We may hit it with a little bit of that silicone. I think I'm going to take my spoon, my stick, and just kind of hit the sides as well. It's got a clump of something on it I need to get off. Yeah, clumpy teal kind of messed me up a little bit, but that's okay. I'll know better next time. I add a little bit of white to that edge so that it runs off. I know you probably can't see what I'm doing because I'm on this edge, but I just threw a little bit of white on the very tip edge so that it would run off that side there and give me a little more color on that side. And I'm going to do it here on this end too, just adding a little bit of white on that corner because it seems to be running this way. Obviously I am tilted, so I'm trying to just put a little on this outside edge of the white. Now you can't see what I'm doing, but I'll show you when it's done what I did. Just a little color on the outside edge because it's all wanting to run the other way. And you know what, we may end up, who knows, when it's dry, we may end up coming back and just re-pouring the whole thing. I don't know. I'm going to move it a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me see. I want to look at the other side. Yeah, it's definitely tilted this direction because everything's kind of running that way. But I have to tell you guys, I don't hate it. It's kind of starting to, look at my hands. It's kind of starting to grow on me. I'm going to stick my hand in this water for 1 second just to get some of the goo off. Do a little water wash, wipe it on my apron. Oh, my ring is teal now. Okay, so I think I'm kind of liking this. I can't decide. My stick looks completely awesome. No. So, but I do see a few things I need to address. Obviously that clump, there were some clumps in my teal and there is a clump right there. So I want to get that out. And I kind of want to just look and make sure that there are no more like big clumpy teal places. So I'm basically using my palette knife to just move things around. There's a clump right here, and it's that teal, so I'm just going to mash it down a little and maybe spread it. I think we're going to hit it with the silicone too, just to see what happens because, you know, we're playing. I do kind of like it though. Kind of want to add a stream of gold here, so I'm just going to do a little stream. And you know, Kelly said don't fall in love with any one spot because it's going to constantly change as the paints dry. So do remember that. You know, I'm like having I love it, I hate it, I love it, I hate it moments right now, but I'm going to trust the art fairies and hope that when the art fairies are done, I'm just adding in a little bit of gold here and there just to see what we can do, just to see what'll happen. Can you even see? I'm way over here off the edge. So let me see if you can see right here. So all I'm doing is taking a little bit of gold on my stick and just hitting right along that edge of color. Just to add a little gold edge to it. And I'll have to take a close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. Now that may completely go away. I don't know. But I can't help it. I have to play. But I think I want to hit a couple of these spots. I really love this section over here. I don't really love that section so much. So I think I'm going to hit it with the silicone. Just a little quick spray on this side of the canvas to see what happens. Now I want you guys to watch closely what's going to happen to all this here. Apparently nothing. Huh, that's weird. Kelly, when she sprayed it, it just, oh, it did do it here. When she sprayed it, it just went, phew. I think that was the Rain X, though. All right, so we're going to let that sit. That cup is fantastic. What's all in there? So I'm actually going to let this sit. We're going to just wait and see what happens. These are, you know, my colors, the colors I like a lot. And I really am having a love-hate relationship with it. So I think we're going to just walk away. We're going to let it dry. And we'll come back when it's dry and see if we love it, if we hate it, if we want to maybe do something else to it, add some glass, maybe paint something over the top, and leave a little bit of the pour exposed. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna let it dry though. And remember, you have to let this sit. It takes about a day or more, depending on the humidity, for something like this to dry, because there's a lot of paint here. So we're going to leave this sitting and allow this sucker to dry, and then we'll come back when it's dry and have a chat about what we like and don't like. So we'll see you then.